They found him curled up behind a broken fence, barefoot, bruised and silent. The storm had passed, but something colder lingered in his eyes. The world had already forgotten him, but not every indebted. This is the story of a boy no one claimed, and the outlaw family who gave him a name, a jacket, and a reason toast and tall. Before we begin, I hope today brings you comfort, clarity, and something beautiful you weren't expecting. Comment below where you're watching from. Your every comment gift. Membership helps us bring more heartfelt stories to your life. Thank you. The rain had been falling all night. Most folks in Ironwood closed shop early, except for the steady hum off in jeans coming from the Hells Angles Clubus. Behind O'Reilly's garage, no one saw the kid until early morning when Mike Diesel Dunn walked out back for a smoke and caught something moving near the chain-link fence. It wasn't a raccoon this time. It was a boy, small, soak-a-toe, the bone curled, like a wounded animal. Diesel didn't speak. He just watched. The boy's hands were scraped raw. One shoe is missing. No bag, no num tag. Not even a word out of him. Diesel flicked his smoke and stepped it back inside. 5 minutes later, he returned with a warm ham sandwich and a dry shop towel. The boy didn't eat right away. Just stared at the food like Hugh and sure it was real. Diesel didn't ask any questions. Didn't touch him. Just set the sandwich down and muttered, "Storm's past. Kid might as well eat." That moment, silent, unnoticed, would ripple louder than any rumbling exhaust down Ironwood's main strip. Because what no one knew yet was that the boy had nowhere left to go. Inside Theclubos, the rest of the angels were tearing into breakfast. Thick bacon, bad jokes, and black coffee. Diesel stood in his doorway, quiet. He didn't tell them yet. Outside, the kid finished half the sandwich and curled up again. Toll draped over his shoulder like it means something. By noon, Buck Club VP and a mountain of a man stepped out back for a wrench. He froze mid-step when he saw the kid. The boy looked up but didn't flinch. Buck narrowed his eyes. "Who's this?" Diesel lit another smoke. "Found him by the fence. Ain't said a word." Buck knelt beside. "The kid you got an M, son?" The boy blinked, lips trembling just slightly, then a whisper. "Cody." It barely counted as sound. But in thought moment, the boy gave them the only thing he had, his name. Buck didn't smile. He didn't speak. Just stood up and he said, "Well, Cody, you're cold. Let's get you a blanket." Cody didn't know it yet. But that was the first time Somion had spoken to him like him mattered in a long, long time. And foreman, who didn't take in strays, this wasn't routine. Back inside, Buck tossed Diesel a look. "We're not a damn nor Finage." Diesel didn't flinch. Didn't say we were. They didn't have to say it, but everyone felt it. Cody was young. Way too young for this world. Maybe 10, maybe 11. But his eyes, they were older. Eyes that had watched doors close and never open again. Eyes that didn't cry. Not even now, Big Wayne. The club treasurer muttered, "We call CPS." "Nah," Diesel grunted. "He'll be lost in the system again." Probably ran from a towel ready. "What's your plan?" someone asked. Diesel just said, "Give him a night. Let the boy sleep." Was supposed to be one night. A favor or mercy. Cody sat on an old leather couch in the corner of the garage that night, wrapped. In an angel's cut, someone had laid over him like a joke. But he didn't law. He didn't even move. Upstairs, the brothers told themselves this wasn't permanent. "We ain't keeping him," Buck warned. But somewhere between Thieslins and the softness in that kid's breath, a few hard men started lying, taught themselves. Cody didn't speak for 2 more days. He stayed close to Thegeridge, watching how the men moved, how they fixed bikes, argued, laughed loud, and carried themselves like they unedited the air they breathed. He stayed quiet, always out of the way until Tuesday night. When the fire happened, it was a drunk, some fool stumbling behind the BA, or throwing lit matches near an oil drum. It's no real damage, just a quick blazy and some smoke. But the real story was Cody. He saw it first without thinking. He grabbed a grease-soaked blanket undrawn, straight toward the flames. No oiling, no panic, just instinct. By thought time, the angels caught up. Cody was ready, stamping out the last of it with his bare feet. His arms were shaking, his face smeared with ash. Grabadim, what the hell were you thinking? Cody shrugged, barely audible. Didn't want the bikes to burn? That night no one joked about him anymore. DeSalle powered him a glass of chocolate milk like. It was top-shelf whiskey. Kids got fire in him, someone muttered. And just like that, the boy behind the fence beckoned someone they were afraid to lose. Words faster in biker towns thank a Celine through dry grass. By Wednesday, folks were whispering. Then Jules took in a kid. You serious? Is that legal? But Cody didn't care about whispers. What haunted him was the man Woe walked through the front gate that morning. A social worker named Donnie Haver. Mid-50s, soft-spoken, but sharp as razors. He wasn't there to fight, just holding a folder and a photograph. Buck crossed his arms. We know our rights. Donnie didn't flinch. I'm nother to cause trouble, but I know that boy. I've seen those eyes before. Tweesmans, 2 escapes. Last time Heron during winter, with no coat. Diesel stepped forward. He says, Why? Donnie looked down. Because the man who was sobbed to protect him was the one hurting him. Cody stood in the doorway, face pale. Donnie met his eyes. Hey, Cody, you remember me? The boy gave the fondest nod. That silence was louder than any bike they'd ever revved. And it told the Angels something they weren't ready to admit out loud. They weren't just keeping a kid. They were protecting a soul. Later that evening, the garage was quiet. The kind of quiet that only comes after something bigger than word shows pass through. Cody sat on a crate hugging his knees. His eyes weren't wet, but something inside him was flickering. Buck walked over and sat on the opposite a crate, resting his arms on his knees. You ever held a vest before? He asked, voice soft low. Cody shook his head. Buck reached behind him and laid a folded leather vest across his lap. It wasn't patched, no colors, just old leather with history stitched into every crease. This one belonged to a man named Trigger. He didn't have a family either. Not till we gave him one. Cody reached out slowly, fingers hovering over Theffa brick like it might burn him. Ode. Gotta earn this one, Buck said. Not yet, but maybe. Maybe one day. Cody finally touched. It just for Asacond. But that second was enough. Divis didn't fit him. Not physically butte in that moment, it was like something gavey started to lift off his chest. And for the first time since arriving, whispered, Thank you. By Thursday, it was understood Cody wasn't leaving. No one said it outright, but the club's rhythm shifted. One by one, the brothers made space. Wayne brought him a pair of boots. Preacher cleaned up an old cottonth back room. Even Slick, who barely spoke to anyone sober, handed Cody Apicette's knife and taught him how to open it without slicing. His thumb. Still, there were questions. Why us? Desai muttered one night, watching Cody line up bolts on the workbench like he was solving a puzzle. Buck shrugged. Kazu looked at him and didn't look away that weekend. They took him on a silent ride. Number. Vest. No helmet. Just Cody Inth. Sidecar of Diesel's old fat boy. Arms wrapped around his knees. Wind in his face like something holy. They didn't go far. Just up Highway 10 and back. But when they returned, Cody was smiling. It's not wide, just enough. That smile traveled through the clubhouse like wildfire. No one mentioned it. But every man felt it, because that's when they knew the kid wasn't just surviving anymore. He was healing. Saturday night brought Carson's bar back to life. It was fight night. Loud, reckless, and crowded with men who didn't know. When to quit, Cody wasn't supposed to be there, but he wanted to see. Diesel let him stay, perched on the pool table where heckled stay out of the way. Just a fly on the wall. But trouble doesn't care about age. Some punk, drunk, and mean, shoved past Diesel and caught sight of Cody. What's this club mascot? He laughed. Diesel growled. Back off. But the punk kept poking, sneering. You babysitting no old man? Ain't this cute? Then Coda stood up. Didn't shout, didn't cry. Had just looked the guy dead in the eye and said, You're loud for someone sompty. The room went silent. Even the music stopped. The guy froze, unsure whether to laugh or hit him. Then Buck stepped in. "You've got a problem with our brother? You got a problem with us, brother?" The word hit like thunder. The punk backed off fast, and Cody sat down again, quiet as before. But something had changed. He wasn't just buying defended anymore. He was being claimed after Carson's Buck called a church meeting. Not for sermons, just what the brothers called truth circles. Ellis, no lies, no noise. Preacher brought an old Bible, his dad's army jacket. He laid both in front of Cody. "Pick one," he said. Cody frowned. "What for?" "Nothing. Just which feels more like you." The boy stared long and hard, then slowly picked up the jacket, tried it on. The sleeve shung past his hands, but he didn't care. Preacher smiled. "That was mine when I ran. I used to sleep in barns, scared off me own shadow until someone gave me Ariosin. To stand up." Cody didn't say a word. But later he asked Preacher with verse on the inside tag meant. Isaiah 61:2-3, to give unto them beauty for ashes. He didn't get it then, but he felt it. Because when you've lost everything, you stop looking for beauty until someone shows you that ashes can bloom. That night he slept in the jacket like armor. And for the first time, his nightmares stayed quiet. Monday morning, 9:06 a.m., a white Ford sedan, Polidento, the lot. Government plates. Buckshand went to his hip. Diesel locked the toolbox. The preacher told Cody to wait in the back. Out stepped a woman. Clipboard. Glass's voice too cheerful. "Hi there. We're following up on a child welfare call." Buck didn't blink. "He's not here. He was seen with you last week. Small boy, brown hair. He's safe, I'm sure, but we'll need to confirm it." Diesel stepped forward, and what happens when you do? The woman softened. "Foster placement. Maybe a shelter." Willis's Bucks. Jaw tightened. "Ma'am, with all due respect, this ain't some stray you scoop up and file." Then from behind a small voice, "I'm not going." Everyone turned. Cody stood there, chin high. "I'm not going. He didn't come home when I needed help. These men did." The woman blinked. Cody stepped between Diesel and Buck. Didn't hold anyone shunned. Just stood on his own 2 feet, and something in that silence said Etall. He wasn't a ward of the state no more. He was a brother, and the road ahead belonged to him now. After the state left empty-handed, the mood in Theclaboose shifted. No more tiptoeing, no more hesitation. Buck tossed Cody a jacket. Black denim with no patch, just stitched initials. Take it had belonged to a brother named Tom who died in Oric. 3 years back. "Time you had something that fits," Buck said. That afternoon they took Cody out on what Diesel called a ride to nowhere in particular. Just wheels, wind, and silence. Cody rode behind Preacher on a gnarled Road King, his arms wrapped around the man's waist. The highway stretched out like a ribbon, and Cody led his headlian into the wind. No one said anything. They didn't need to. Soma Timesling doesn't come with words. Comes with noise, with motion. With the sense that, even if you don't know where you're going, someone's riding beside you. They stopped near an old overlook above Lick Ironwood. Cody hopped off, walked to Thage, and looked out at the water like head. "Never seen anything that wide before?" Diesel caught up beside him. "That's what freedom looks like," Coda whispered. "I think I remember what that feels like." And Diesel just nodded. "Good. There's no ceremony for it. No speeches. No songs. Just a worn table, a patch kit, and hands that know what loyalty means." Buck laid out the vest at night. Cody's vest, still too big, stitched from one passed down life into another.
Ass!
The colors weren't patched yet. He wasn't. A full brother, but stitched across the chest was one name. Cody hestered, at it like it was the first thing ever made just for him. "You sure, Bouchette?" Cody didn't speak. He just slid his arms in slowly, carefully like it might fall apart if he moved too fast. Didn't, instead. The room went still. Every brother is watching, even Thegrisald ones, even the ones who said, "No kids. No way." Diesel raised his glass to the youngest brother this club's ever had. Wayne followed. Then Preacher Cody just sat there wearing his name on his chest, and for once he was entreated to disappear, that he was letting him be seen not as a burden, not as a project, but as one of them, and nothing, no law, no history, no bloodline, could take that away. Now life rarely gives you peace for long. A week after Cody got his cut, the clubhouse phone rang. Landline handled school. No one uses it unless it's serious, Diesel answered. His jaw clenched halfway through the call. When hung up, the room was quiet. That was County. Cody's dad just got out. He's looking for him. Silence turned to heating seconds. Parole? Buck asked. So me technicality? They didn't notify you sooner. Preacher stood up. That man hard him. No way we let him near thee. Boy, he's got rights, Wayne muttered. Buck slammed his hand on the table. Note in this house, he doesn't. Cody stood in the doorway, silent again. Not scarred this time, just smaller. Do I gotta go? He asked. Buck turned to him. No, you didn't. Cody looked each of them in thighs. Then I won't. That night, Theclabos doubled the watch rotation. Cody slept with his vest on. Not because he feared what was coming, but because he finally had something worth protecting, and every man in that building felt the same. If his father came, he'd meet more than one wall. He'd meet a brotherhood. It was a long night. The angels weren't the waiting kind. Boothus night, they waited. Engines cold, eyes hot, fists ready. Cody slept in the corner of the common room, his head on a dope hoodie, unaware that every brother was awake. Buck paced. Diesel cleaned a wrench that didn't need cleaning. The preacher read a passage about the fatherless finding a place among men of courage. Then headlights arrested, sedan pulled. Up to the lot, out stepped a man with a crooked walk. A cigarette dangling from his mouth. Dyes it looked like the devil had lived in them. He didn't make it to the front steps. Buck met him halfway. I came for my son. No, Buck said flatly. You came for control. You'll list that. He's mine by blood. Diesel stepped beside him. You had your shot. You bled it dry. The man tried to push past. The preacher was there too. Then Wayne, then all of them. The man took a look at that wall of leather, scars, and silence, and backed away. He drove off. No words, just fear. Cody never woke, but he never had to. That was the point. A week passed. Cody didn't ask about that night. Didn't need to. But something shifted in him. He walked a taller, ate more, started talking, laughing. Even the kid who once hugged fences now gripped handlebars. He was just part of the club. He was becoming a reflection of it. One evening, Buck noticed something new. Cody had drawn on his arm with a permanent marker, a crude winged skull. Their club's logo. His version of it. You trying to get inked already? Buck teased. Cody shrugged. Not ready yet. No rush, Buck said. Takes time. Cody nodded. I just wanted to feel like I belong, even if it washes off. Buck knelt beside him, took Spoy's forearm gently. Come from ink, son. Eck. It comes from what don't wash off. He tapped Cody's chest right over the heart. That's where the real patch lives. Cody didn't say anything, just looked down at smudged ink and smiled. Not because Yeet was fading, but because he knew now the mark that mattered most was invisible. It was earned, and it was already there. It was tradition. Every August, the Ironwood chapter rode to Theblyf, where Trigger had laid down his bike for the last time. No speeches, no flowers, just throttles, silence, and respect. This year they brought Cody. Hewer, his patched vest with pride, sea-tied behind Preacher once again. But this time, he didn't clutch the man like a life raft. He leaned back, eyes forward, wind hitting his face like it belonged get to him. When they reached the bluff, Buck handed Cody a stone with triggers and initials carved into it. Every brother leaves something behind, Buck said. This year you carry it. Cody walked to the edge, same spot where trigger sashes had scattered into the lake years ago. He knelt, placed the stone down, and whispered something no one else could hear. Then he stood taller than before. Preacher put a hand on his holder. "You did good, brother." Cody turned and looked back at the row-off bikes. "I think he'd be proud." "He would," Diesel said. "He is." And for the first time, Cody didn't feel like a visitor. In someone else's story, he felt like part of the legacy. School was never Cody's strong suit. He'd bounced through too many districts. Too many classroom-sure teachers gave up before he even impact. But at the clubhouse, learning was different. It came with oil stains, socket wrenches, and lessons whispered row, greasy fingers. Diesel handed him his first real task, placing brake pads on a 92 Softail. No safety net. No one is hovering. "You mess it up," Diesel warned. "I'll make you redo it twice." Cody grinned. "Fair." He spent hours on that bike. Took it apper carefully. Late. Every piece out like bones in a story he was learning Torred. When he was done, Diesel checked work. Not one bolt missed. "Good hands," he said. Cody beamed. "Not big, just enough." That night, Buck pulled him aside, slid a folded 20 into his palm. "What's this?" "Your first paycheck." "But I didn't." "You worked. You earned." Cody stared at the bill like it was gold, not for the money, but because Sumi and Believed his hands could make something great. It was just a brake job, but it was also something else. Proof that Heckled builds more than just broken parts. He could build a life. It happened on a Tuesday. Quiet like most truths, Coda found an old shoebox tucked behind some storage crates. Inside were photos faded, bent at the edges. In a firefighter costume, another of woman with dark hair and teared eyes holding a baby at a train station, his breath caught. He had not seen her face in years. His mother preacher walked in mid-moment, saw the boy frozen with the box in his lap. "She was brave," preacher said softly. "Real brave? You knew her?" Preacher nodded briefly. "She used to come by the food pantry. She always had you in her arms, never let you out of sight." Codis Halders trembled, she said. "If anything happens to me, tell him he's light, not firelight." And then the tears came, quiet at first, then full. Cody cried, not because he was broken, but because someone had remembered her, had remembered him. Preacher sat beside him, no words, just two men sitting with Maury. In that moment, Cody wasn't the Thelis boy from the fence anymore. He was a son, a brother, and a light Sumyana had prayed would never go out. The next town over Redgate invited the Ironwood chapter to ride in their Founders' Day parade. Normally, they declined suck things, too many eyes, too much noise. But this year, Buck said yes. And Wenthy lined up in rows of chrome and leather. Cody sat dead center between Diesel and Preacher, wearing his vest like it was stitched into his bones. Spectators waved. Kids pointed, but all Cody saw was the road ahead. At a red light, a man leaned from the crowd and shouted, "Hey kid, you with them?" Cody didn't flinch, just nodded. "Is that your dad?" Cody looked around at Diesel wadded him tools, at Preacher, who held space for his pain, at Buck, who stood between him and the worst night of his life. Then he looked back at the man and said, "All of them." The light turned green. Engines roared, and they rode on. Because brotherhood, rail brotherhood, isn't always built in blood. Semita Messets, forged in fire, silence, and that choice to stay. Years from now, when Cody was older and the clubhouse smelled more like coffee than gasoline, he would still wear that vest. By then, the club would have changed. Some faces are gone, new ones patched in, but one thing would remain. No one. He became the brother no one wanted too close. He got inked eventually, not loud, not flashy, just one line across his holder. Beauty for ashes. The Samercy is stitched inside Preacher's jacket, the one he never forgot. On his 18th birthday, they gave him a final gift. The full patch, no ceremony, just Diesel sliding the box across the table. Cody opened it, lifted the vest, stitched bold across the back. Helsangles, Ironwood. He held it for Asicond, then put it on to fit, not just in his body, but on his soul. Outside, engines warmed up. Another ride was waiting, and this time Cody led it.
Wow.
From fire and claimed by those who saw him when Thurl didn't. Sometimes the fierce families are the ones born not from belief. If the story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another. Journey like Cody's. Would you stand between a child and his storm? Let us know in the comments.